Leaders of Europe and Mexico have responded to U.S. President Donald Trump's latest tariff announcement with criticism.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky took to social media to slam Russia for intensifying what he called a terror and intimidation campaign against civilians.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said the EU will suspend retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods scheduled to take effect Monday until August 1st. She said the priority remains to reach an agreement with the U.S. after Trump announced new 30% tariffs.
We have always been very clear that we prefer a negotiated solution. This remains the case, and we will use the time that we have now till the 1st of August. And on the second track, since the very beginning, we have worked and now are ready to respond with countermeasures. We've prepared for this, and we can respond with countermeasures if necessary.
Other European leaders and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum also responded to the announcement, expressing criticism. French President Emmanuel Macron and European Council President Antonio Costa backed the Commission's statement in separate posts on X. Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof called the announcement concerning and not the way forward, while Irish Taoiseach Michael Martin called it a setback.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky took to social media to slam Russia for intensifying what he called their terror and intimidation campaign. Zelensky says over the past 7 days, the Kremlin launched more than 1,800 drones and some 1,200 guided aerial bombs targeting mainly civilian infrastructure. He also added that Moscow had fired over 80 missiles of various types, including ballistic missiles. Russia's defense ministry claims they've been making territorial gains, particularly on the eastern front lines. But despite this, the Ukrainian leader says his country's air defenses are achieving good results. Zelensky says Kyiv has managed to intercept most Russian attacks, but pleaded for more support to ensure continued success. He also called on Ukraine's allies to ramp up pressure on the Kremlin to force them to the negotiating table to end their invasion. He also expressed his gratitude to the U.S., who are expected to deliver weapons, including the much-needed Patriot air defense systems, to Ukraine soon via NATO. Plumes of smoke could be seen rising over various locations in Gaza on Sunday as Israeli forces continue their offensive in the enclave. Local health officials say at least 139 Palestinians were killed over the past 24 hours. 17 people were killed in one attack on a water collection point, including 6 children. Israel's war on Gaza has so far claimed the lives of more than 58,000 Palestinians, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. The strikes come as negotiations between Israel and Hamas are underway over a new ceasefire deal. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel has accepted the Washington proposal and claimed Hamas had refused it. The Israeli premier says Hamas rejected the deal because it wants to stay in Gaza to rearm so it can attack again. He also noted that he is in favor of a deal, but will not accept Hamas's continued existence in Gaza as a condition for any agreement. Netanyahu has been under fire domestically as protests continue demanding a deal with Hamas to return the remaining hostages. Hamas still holds 50 hostages who were taken during the October 7 attacks, which killed close to 1,200. At least 20 are believed to still be alive.
Search operations are ongoing in Spain's northeastern Catalonia region after severe storms caused flooding across the province. Catalan firefighters continue to search for an adult and a child on Sunday after they were reported missing a day earlier. They were last seen crossing a bridge and falling into the river. Spain's weather agency said there was a high potential for flash floods in 8 provinces, and a disaster relief unit of Spain's military was deployed to the northeastern city of Zaragoza. Other countries across the continent have also issued alerts for heavy rain and storms, including Italy and Poland. The intense downpours come after Europe saw extreme heat waves across the continent, which has broken records and sparked alarm as temperatures reached above 40 degrees Celsius in parts of the continent.
France announced a deal with New Caledonia on Saturday, which would grant the overseas territory more autonomy. The accord calls for the creation of a state of Caledonia, but which would remain French. It will also allow for the creation of a Caledonian nationality alongside the French one. President Emmanuel Macron hailed the agreement as historic. However, it stops short of full independence sought by Indigenous Canucks. For decades, the South Pacific Territory faced political tensions between those seeking independence and those loyal to France. And last year, deadly riots broke out over a proposed controversial electoral reform. Macron now hopes the accord will allow for New Caledonia to build together towards a shared future. Europe and the US have their eye on Greenland for its rare earth minerals. It comes in an effort to reduce reliance on China. Greenland is home to some of the world's largest untapped rare earth deposits. These minerals are a key ingredient in the production of electric vehicles, smartphones, fighter jets, and other products. China's dominance over critical minerals has long been a powerful bargaining chip in recent trade talks, and Greenland's deposits are now eyed as an alternative to Beijing's stranglehold on the global supply chain. US President Donald Trump has repeatedly said he wants to take control over the Arctic island. The country's Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen was quick to reject his claims, calling Trump's statement disrespectful. Instead, Greenland is looking towards investments from the EU and the US in hopes that this will get more mines in the next decade.
Despite being in a crowd of thousands, only a handful of women are taking part in the annual bull run at Pamplona's San Fermin festival in Spain. While female runners are rare, they say the tradition is gaining popularity among women and hope more will take part.
Bueno, pues yo las animaría que si tienen ganas de verdad, que lo prueben, que lo intenten, que por probarlo, bueno, no pierden nada.
Al final el animal no entiende de sexos, de edades, morfologías del cuerpo, no entiende quién se está poniendo delante. Pues a ratos me siento pequeña, que dices, ¿qué hago aquí? Porque quieras que no, pues ya solo por físico te sientes un poco inferior, pero en el momento in situ de esos segundos somos todos iguales.
Every year, thousands of people line the medieval streets of Pamplona to witness the centuries-old tradition of running with bulls. Up to 4,000 runners take part in each bull run, which takes place over 846 meters and can last 2 to 4 minutes. But women were not able to participate in the bull runs until 1975 due to a decree that was repealed 1 year earlier. Still, only 6% of runners are women, according to data from Pamplona's town hall. Monday marked the last day of this year's San Fermin festival with a closing ceremony at midnight.
Librarians at a medieval abbey in Hungary are battling a beetle infestation that is threatening to wipe out centuries of history. The abbey believes climate change played a role in the infestation, as higher temperatures are favorable for the life of the insects.
Ilyen mértékű fertőzéssel nem találkoztunk. Mi 30 éve foglalkozunk egyébként tömeges állományvédelmi eljárások kivitelezésével. A jellemző eddig inkább a penészedés volt, raktárakban is és felszíni gyűjteményekben is. Most várható szerintem a felmelegedés miatt, hogy egyre több rovarfertőzés is felbukkan.
Restoration workers are removing about 100,000 hand-bound books from their shelves. They are then carefully placing them in crates where the disinfection process takes place. They hope to reopen the library at the beginning of next year.
A 25-kilogram rock is being auctioned for a price ranging between $2 and $4 million. It's so exorbitantly priced because it's the largest piece of Mars ever found on planet Earth.
It's more than double the size of what we previously thought was the largest piece of Mars. Now, we've only taken a small piece of it to study to confirm that it was Martian, but there's all sorts of interesting data that can be found inside of this rock.
It'll be auctioned off at Sotheby's in New York on Wednesday as part of a natural history-themed sale that also includes a juvenile dinosaur skeleton. The skeleton is large, standing at 2 meters in height and 3 meters in length. It's also incredibly rare.
Juvenile specimens are really really important. They're really rare for two reasons. They were very appetizing to adult dinosaurs. You know, nice, tender, young dinosaurs, much better than an old, stiff dinosaur. But also their bones were really fine and were much less likely to survive the 154 million year fossilization process. So we almost never find juvenile dinosaurs.
The fossil is going anywhere from $4 to $6 million. Sotheby says it's a chance for someone to claim a one-of-a-kind piece of history.
Several new sites were added to the UNESCO World Heritage List on Friday. Among them were several European sites, including the famous fairy tale castles of Bavaria's King Ludwig II, which have attracted millions of tourists for over 140 years. The new sites also included ancient structures such as the megalithic Karnak stones in France and the Minoan palatial centers on the Greek island of Crete. Both date from several thousand years BC. Although the World Heritage title does not bring any financial support, it does ensure further international attention and cultural prestige. At 60 listed sites, Italy has the most of any country. Some examples include the archaeological site of Pompeii and the Amalfi Coast. Other well-known sites across the world are the Great Wall of China, Egypt's pyramids of Giza, and the Taj Mahal in India.